All right, we're going to skip this page, and we're going to jump right into this page right here. Are the lines parallel? So now we're going to work backwards, okay? In order for the two lines to be parallel, then everything we said on the last page has to be true. Vertical angles have to be the same, alternate interior angles have to be the same, alternate exterior angles have to be the same, corresponding angles have to be the same, and then the two angles, the consecutive interior angles have to make 180, all that fun stuff has to be true. So let's take a look at the first example. I want to know, are these two lines parallel? For these two lines to be parallel, that means that these two angles over here have to make 180, okay? And here is why. If you extend this line and extend that line, that means that this is 45, so this is 45, which means that this is 45 and this is 45 because of vertical angles, corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles. Now, what do you notice about these two angles? They have to make 180, right? Because they have to be on the same line. Two angles always make 180 on the same line. And sure enough, 135 plus 45 is 180. So the answer is yes, those two lines have to be parallel. So let's take a look at the one down below. So if this is 58 degrees, that means this has to be 58 degrees because they're vertical, which means that these also have to be 58 degrees because of corresponding angles or alternate interior, alternate exterior. But now look what you notice here. These two angles next to each other on the line have to make 180. The only problem is 120 and 58 make 178 degrees. So the math doesn't work out. So the answer is no, those two lines are not parallel. Okay, that does not make sense. You can't add 58 and 120 and get 180. So that's a big no. All right, and let's just do these last two pages, and then we're done with today's lesson. We're going to solve for x now, okay? And in all of these questions, these lines are going to be parallel, okay? These lines will be parallel. So because these two lines are parallel, this is the best way to do this. Since this is 63 degrees, I'm going to fill in my numbers here. So that's 63, which means this is 63, which means this is 63. Now, what do we notice about these right here? 5x plus 18 is the same as 63 degrees, which means 5x plus 18 has to equal 63 degrees. Subtract 18, divide by 5. So x is 9. But now remember, we do two answers with these, right? On your homework tonight, always two answers. It's what x equals and the missing angle. So if you plug 9 into x right now, 9 times 5 is 45. 45 plus 18 is 63 degrees. So all of this is what's going to be on your homework tonight. It's what x equals and what the angle is. So let's take a look at the next one. This is what I would do. This is 32 degrees right here, so I'm going to put 32 right here because they have to be the same. They're vertical angles, which means this has to be 32 because they are alternate interior, which means this has to be 32 as well because of vertical angles. Now, what do you notice? 32 and 8x are in the same exact location. That means they have to be the same. That means they have to be equal to each other. So that means that 8x equals 32, divide by 8, and x is 4. Plug 4 back into x. 8 times 4 is 32 degrees. So that is what your answer is going to look like. X equals 4, which is 32 degrees. Go ahead and do the next one, please. Pause the video. All right, so because this is 122 degrees right here, that means this is 122, that means this is 122, that means this is 122. These are in the same exact location. That means that they are equal to each other. So you're going to say 4x plus 42 equals 122. 4x equals 80, divided by 4, and x equals 20. And plug 20 back into x, and you're going to get 122 for your angle, right? So x is 20 and 122 degrees. Turn the page, and this is our last two examples for today. And these are a little bit different. Don't assume that they're always equal to each other. Watch what happens on this example. All right? So this right here is 48 degrees. So that means that this is 48, which means this is 48, and which means that this is 48. So notice I'm not putting 48 into the same exact location as a 2x plus 6. So 2x plus 6 does not equal 48 in this example. All right, so don't get thinking that every time it's going to equal each other. It's not always true. So you got to ask yourself, what do you know about two angles that are on the same line that are next to each other? They have to add up to 180 degrees, right? They have to add up to 180 degrees. So our equation is going to look like this. 2x plus 6 plus 48 has to add up to 180 degrees. Combine like terms. 2x plus 54 equals 180 degrees. Subtract 54 and divide by 2. X is 63. And when you plug 63 back in, 2 times 63 is 126. 126 and 6 is 132 degrees. So that is what your answer is going to look like. X equals 63, and the missing angle is 132 degrees, which makes sense because 132 and 48 add up to 180. Do the last one, please. Pause the video. All right, so what I would do is I would put the 24 into the spots where they all belong. So 24, 24, 24, 24. These two angles have to add up to 180. So 4x minus 20 plus 24 makes 180. Solve for x. You're going to get 44 for x, which is 156 degrees when you plug 44 into x. All right, so that is today's lesson, and your homework will be uploaded to Google Classroom.